session. We've entitled this A Higher Standard of Living, Lessons from the Teachings of Queen Kunti. So to invoke auspiciousness, we will recite this one mantra. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the teachings of Queen Kunti is known as Kunti Stuti, or the prayers also of Queen Kunti. Something very special, there's some special things about this. We started this discussion yesterday. Today is the second session. Just to summarize, this particular teachings of Queen Kunti, this is the first prayer in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is deeply philosophical and it contains inner realizations from the experiences, very dramatic experiences of this amazing woman, Queen Kunti. And because it comes from a place of real experiences, it is practically applicable. You can apply it in your life. And in spite of the ups and downs of life, we can actually find the pathway to peace and happiness. So yesterday we did this verse number 18. It's the opening verse. Today we'll do a few more verses after that. Okay. Maya Javanika Channam. Right? Maya Javanika Agyadhokshajam avyayam Nalakshasye mudhadrisha Nato natya dharo yatha. The curtain of illusion. Translation: being beyond the range of limited sense perception. So she's not talking to Lord Krishna, okay? She's telling him, being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. If you recall from yesterday's discussion, she says that, my Lord, you are not visible, even though you're inside everyone and outside also. Now here she's giving a little more insight into why you are not visible. Javanika means curtain. So we are covered by the curtain of Maya. Maya Javanika. What is Maya? Deluding energy. Actually, the deluding energy is covering us. It's not covering Krishna. But for the purpose of seeing him, that curtain is there, and so it looks like he is covered by that. But we are the ones who are covered. How is that possible? There are people who see Krishna. At that time, Kunti's time, Krishna was interacting with everybody in person. What about those people? So she says, Nato natya dharo yatha, which means just like an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. See, so sometimes, a man, he can be going to a drama performance of his school, in a son's school. So the rich man, he went to the performance and he saw my son is in the drama. The teacher told the parent, the father, that your son is playing a very important role in the drama. So he saw the drama, it was very nice. At the end of the nice drama, he said, it was a good drama, but I'm very angry. Why are you angry? Well, you said my son has an important role. He wasn't even on the stage. And the teacher said, no, he played the main role. He played the poor man, the little poor boy. Oh, that was him, yes. See, the man was very rich. He could never vision his son being a poor man. So he couldn't recognize his own son in the drama. It was so well, his acting was so good, the costume makeup was so dramatic. Nato natya dharo yatha. So people cannot recognize Krishna when he comes. That's what Kunti is explaining. Why? Because he plays as if he's an actor, and those who don't know him very well, they will not recognize him, even though he's interacting with them. And what is that curtain that covers it? Maya Javanika Channam. Maya Javanika. Illusory energy. The deluding energy. Okay? That is that next verse. Then she continues. The following verse is verse number 20. And here we will see what is coming forth is the humility of Queen Kunti. Okay, we can try this one. Tatha paramahansanam muninam amalatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartham katham pashye mahistriya. So she continues. She's saying, my Lord, you yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? So here we see simultaneously two things: the brilliance of Queen Kunti and the humility. See, she outlines how Krishna himself has to come down to explain this spiritual science to the topmost philosophers. He's saying the spiritual science is so sophisticated and intricate. You personally, God, you have to come down to explain it to these very advanced thinkers, deep thinkers, Muninam, Amalatmanam, these philosophers. Then how can we women, ordinary women, know you, she's saying. Of course, Queen Kunti is not an ordinary woman. And this is one of the specialties of Queen Kunti's prayers. She fully understands Krishna. That's why she can explain it so beautifully. And yet she asks, how can we, like an ordinary woman like me, understand this? Srila Prabhupada, he would explain, yes, that the ability to understand deep philosophical concepts and intelligent things, generally men possess stronger than women. However, he says, when women become devotees, like Kunti is a pure devotee, then that distinction disappears. He's explained that. I'm talking about ordinary devotees. He says this many times. He's given letters, he's explained in lectures. When devotees are together serving Krishna, then they are to be treated with equal level of respect, with the understanding that even women devotees have just the same level of sophisticated understanding as the men do. That is the empowering nature of Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada explains this point a little bit further in the purport. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, the Lord is knowable by one who has his mercy. Others may go on thinking about him for years together, yet he is unknowable. So the access to Krishna comes from his mercy. This very fact is corroborated by the queen, who is playing the part of an innocent woman. Women in general are unable to speculate like philosophers, but they are blessed by the Lord because they believe at once in the superiority and almightiness of the Lord. And thus they offer obeisances without reservation. See, so here we see, Prabhupada explains how women have a natural advantage. You'll see that he's going to explain that further compared to men in the aspect of spiritual life. But of course, if the women don't take advantage of this feature, this extra strength, then it is a huge lost opportunity for the women and for the men who are in their lives. Prabhupada continues, The Lord is so kind that He does not show special favor only to one person who is a great philosopher. He knows the sincerity of purpose. This is the key. Sincerity of purpose. Are you sincere in your purpose of life? What is your purpose? For this reason only, women generally assemble in great number in any sort of religious function. In every country and in every sect of religion, it appears that the women are more interested than the men. This simplicity of acceptance of the Lord's authority is more effective than showy, insincere religious fervor. This is Prabhupada highlighting. Even though Queen Kunti is showing her humility, my Lord, how can me, ordinary women like me, understand you? So she's glorifying Krishna and showing her humility. Although she was very advanced, and she's a great person. She was the queen of the world, okay? She's not like just an ordinary person off the street. And yet she's giving us the example. Find a way to be humble in front of the Lord. Don't think you're so great. You may be great, but be humble. And today's final verse we're going to do 1:8:21. Okay, 20 verse. This is the sweet Lord Govinda. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda-gopāla Govindaya Namo Namaha. So you can see this is just a string of beautiful names of the Lord. Krishna. Krishna means the all-attractive Supreme Lord. And this YA at the end, you see Krishnaya. It means unto Krishna I'm offering something. Vasudevaya, this is another name of Krishna. Vasudevaya. It means unto Vasudeva also I'm offering what? Namo Nama. At the bottom you say Namo Nama means obeisances. I'm offering obeisances. I'm bowing down. I'm offering my bowing down to Krishna, to Vasudeva, to Devaki Nandana, and Nanda-gopāla and Govindaya. That's the main thing. The sweet Lord Govinda. So we're going to cover these names, okay? So let's read I'm going to read the translation. It says, "Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva." That is Vasudeva. The pleasure of Devaki Nandanaya, the boy of Nanda and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, Nanda-gopāla, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Govindaya Namo Namah. Govinda means the name of the Lord. That was given to him because he is the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Go means the senses, and go also means the cows. This morning I had the good fortune of seeing the beautiful cows of our temple in our farm and got to feed them. Very special occasion on Ekadashi. And you can see, if you've never experienced seeing the cows, coming close to them, feeding them, touching them, definitely do that. And you'll realize why these cows are magical creatures. They have the special mercy of the Lord and they're loved by the Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Vrajabhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. He continues, his pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda, and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahman Hitaya Cha. Indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more or less on these two items. namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. If those two things are present in any population in a substantial and powerful way, then that population becomes prosperous. And Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking, where these are neglected. So just want to go back and look at these names again. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda-gopāla Govindaya Namo Namo. Like I explained, Krishna means all attractive. Akarshan means attraction in Sanskrit. Akrishta iti Krishna. One who attracts the most is Krishna. Okay. Vasudeva means what? Vasudeva has two meanings. Vasudeva means Krishna is the son of Vasudeva. His father's name is Vasudeva. What is the second meaning of Vasudeva? It means he's all pervading. That's right. He's all pervading. His nivas, his residence, his vas is everywhere. So he's the Dev, he's the god of living everywhere. Nivasasthan, Vasudeva. If you read the opening line of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and Prabhupada translates, he gives both meanings in the translation. And that name gives two facets of the gem of Krishna, two angles to understand. The Nivasasthan, that God is everywhere, is his all-pervading feature, is somewhat impersonal. But the son of Vasudeva is a very personal aspect. He's son of somebody, he has a father, he has a form. And both those apply to Krishna. So it's not that Krishna is bereft of one or the other. He has both. That's important for us to keep in mind. And of course, Devaki Nandana, he gives joy to Devaki and Nanda-gopāla. And we read the purport. So today's talk is called A Higher Standard of Living, Lessons from Queen Kunti. Now, when we talk about a standard of living, what comes to mind usually? Generally, we understand that the more money we have, the higher our standard of living we can create. Right? We have more options. And the expectation is that we will be happy. This is I think everybody pretty much agrees to this general idea when we talk about standard of living. So our standard of living in Sudan is not very high. Standard of living in Nairobi is much better. The standard of living in UK is a little better, or standard of living in US or something. We call that standard of living. In a higher living standard, we have access to high quality food, access to healthcare, hospitals and all that, ability to travel where we want, have a nice car, you have to have children and so on, you have financial savings for retirement, and you have a home with electricity and running water and heating and cooling and Wi-Fi. Of course, you can live without wife, but not without Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi everybody needs. So we have come to accept this as a good standard. And there's nothing wrong with this picture. There's nothing wrong. But there's a difference between a high standard of living and a high quality of life. There's a little bit of a difference. Okay. So quality of life is a better indicator of our chances of being happy. For example, if I have access to a hospital and I can afford good doctors, that is a high standard of living. But if my health is so good that I never even have to see a doctor, that is high quality of life. See the difference? So just having money is not enough. Having the knowledge and the discipline to spend the money and spend the time properly is also needed in order to make the most of the opportunities that are in our life. Now let us take this one step further. We may have a good high standard of living, we can have a good quality of life, but do we know what it takes to feel truly peaceful, to be deeply secure, to be happy, and to be fully satisfied? If we are demanding a higher, it's demanding, if we are demanding a higher standard of living, we should not just stop at step 1 or step 2. We should know how to access the next level. True happiness. Where does happiness come from? So what is the use of a life with money and health but no higher values? This is key, values. What are some of the values that are connected to happiness? We have personal integrity, honesty, respect, trust, a code of ethics, responsibility. Then what happens? We feel good about ourselves. It goes deeper. And we are coming closer and closer to a sense of satisfaction and happiness in our lives. But even with a good set of values that we live by, there is one important ingredient which, if it's missing in our lives, will make us feel hollow, make us feel empty. And that is purpose. A purpose-driven life is one where we have a higher goal that we want to reach. Generally, an uplifting purpose is one where we move away from just our self-centered goals. And we move toward working to uplift others, to work for others. We feel that when we serve and help those around us, that we find an even greater happiness and even a more special joy. A purpose-driven life is a noble life, and nobility cannot be replaced by high standard of living or a high quality of personal life or even a high standard of ethics and morality. Nobility is such that when you look in the mirror, you feel happy. You see that, no, my life is worth something because I have a purpose. Without a purpose-driven life, it's hollow. So the highest purpose is to give others the highest form of inner peace and happiness. We can give it to ourselves also. When we give it to others, then we have a purpose-driven life. And what is that? Let's go back to the purport, okay? Purport Prabhupada says, his pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda, and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. Lord Krishna as Govinda is more inclined to the brahmanas and the cows, indicating that human prosperity depends more or less on these two items, harmonic culture and cow production. So, what do we see here? Krishna is showcasing something. He's showcasing something by his own example as Govinda. What is he showcasing? When we can find in our lives a community, see, we're sitting in a community together, with loving exchanges, a simplicity of life, a sense of trust and fearlessness, constant celebration, steeped in a vibrant, colorful culture, then we have found happiness. In this picture is Govinda, and Queen Kunti calls Krishna Govinda. This name opens up the full image of loving exchanges centered around a selfless life of simple living and high thinking. All the ingredients of a high standard of living, a high quality of life, and a high level of satisfaction and richness, and deep sense of purpose are seen here. And all this is possible when God is in the center. God is in the center. All this is available to us in a life of Krishna culture. This is where we belong. This is our source. You know how everyone has a source. The child seeks the mother eventually. There is a salmon fish. They spawn downstream and then they go back up. And when the baby fish comes out, they are looking for their mother, so they swim up the stream, and sometimes they jump and up the rocks to go up the stream because they're desperately seeking their source. That thirst to seek the source, that's in all of us. That's why we're not feeling satisfied until we find it. This is the life of Krishna culture. We want to go home. We want to be in a place where we can feel at home. This is what our heart is yearning for. And this standard of happiness will not only uplift our own lives, but also the lives of those we touch, also the lives of those who are around us. Think about it. If you are feeling very peaceful, satisfied, in spite of ups and downs, and you meet someone new, even a new person completely, believe me, that person will sense that in you. That person will feel, no, when I sit with this person, she is so deep in her life. Even if she doesn't say anything, there's something about her, some vibe. That you cannot duplicate. Saint Francis of Assisi, a very famous saint in the Catholic tradition. He says, always preach. Preach every day. And if absolutely necessary, use words. He says, only use words if necessary, but still preach. That means you preach by living. You preach by being. If you can smile in the face of things that should be making you cry, and someone sees that, they will wonder, I want to be like that person. No amount of money can buy that. That is a life that is centered on values, a life that is reposed in a higher purpose, a life that is saturated with the idea of taking care of others, to see others as my own people. All this is available in the colorful, festival-filled culture of Krishna. The word for festival is what in Sanskrit? Utsav. Utsav. You know what that means? Sav means depression, sadness. Utsav means something that raises you above sadness. You see, tama means what? Darkness. Uttama means something that raises you above darkness. So utsav means something that takes you above sadness. Imagine when we suffer from depression and sadness, week after week, month after month, and we enter a life of Krishna culture. Even if you are not feeling good or you're feeling sad, at least for the day of that festival, you'll feel uplifted. Because, we're doing something nice. We're singing, dancing, putting decorations, we're celebrating, there'll be nice feasts, there'll be, glorification, they put flowers that smell. It's so nice. At least for that much time, you will not be depressed. And you have a string of festivals, one after another. Before you know it, the next one is up. This is Krishna culture. And it is so deep, the more we explore it, the more we find a sense of purpose. So what does everyone want? Everybody wants an abiding sense of peace, to have loving relationships, to want to go back home, where we can feel at home, we can feel it's my place, to have a reason to celebrate, and to actually celebrate a lot, to never feel insecure or fearful, to sleep with a smile on your face when you go to sleep, to wake up happy and looking forward to life. Peace, going back home. Kila mtu anataka amani, kila mtu anataka kurudi nyumbani, kila mtu anataka usalama, kila mtu anataka kulala na tabasamu, kila mtu anataka kuamka kwa furaha. anataka kuwa na Mungu. We want to be connected with God. Everybody wants this. Doesn't matter what language you speak. We want this. So Queen Kunti, she is teaching us what? Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha, Nanda-gopāla Govindaya Namo Namah. What gives her the right to say this will make us happy? She's a queen. How does she know the pain of my life? Her life was very nice. Was it very nice? No. As soon as her children were born, her husband died. The children didn't even become grown-ups, and then the other cousins wanted to kill them. Constantly trying to kill her own children. Somehow she was saved. And even when they grew up, they were faced with so many troubles. Their cousins gave them so many problems. These were kings, but they're sent to the forest for so many years. In the forest, they try, even when they're hiding there, to try to kill them. In the burning house, in so many different ways, they try to kill them. You think Queen Kunti had an easy life? You know how stressful it is when your children are constantly being harassed and someone trying to murder them, and living in such tough circumstances. But still, she prayed to Krishna. We'll come to that later when we progress in this, but just want to give you a little preview. She prayed to Krishna, saying what? My dear Lord, somehow I've noticed that whenever I'm going through difficulties and calamities in my life, you show up. Therefore, please give me more and more difficulties, more and more calamities. Because when the calamities means I'm seeing you, and seeing you means I will not see this cycle of pain, this recurring cycle of death and birth and again misery. If calamities is what it takes for me to see you, then let me more calamities. Queen Kunti is not the kind of person who enjoys suffering. That's not the point. And she's also not saying that when I'm suffering, then I remember you more. That's also not the point. She's saying, somehow I've noticed when I'm in trouble, you show up at our door. So whatever it takes for you to come in our lives, I'm willing to pay that price. Why? Because the purpose of life is to seek our source. It is very simple. And when the source is close to us, we are thrilled, we are joyful. We have a purpose-driven life. So from here, suppose I have to decide now, what can I do with my life? I'm a student. I'm confused. What is my next step in life? I have many, many choices. But we go back to this Brahminical culture. What is Brahminical culture? Let me explain that a little bit. Brahminical culture is a culture where the people who are living it know the purpose of life, they know the values, and they live in something known as the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness is a set of parameters that allow us to develop clarity in life, where you have clear vision on what is what and what will be beneficial and what will be damaging. The mode of goodness is something that a set of things we can do, we can adopt, a set of attitudes that we can cultivate. And if we do it on a daily basis, this mode of goodness, then we see things as they are. Knowledge becomes possible. And when knowledge becomes possible, then we can find what we're looking for, the purpose of life. How to cultivate goodness? Because when goodness is not there, we can't understand what decision to make. Who should I marry, this person or this person? Should I choose this line of work or this line of work? Should I go ahead with this thing that is maybe a little criminal but maybe good for me? Or should I avoid the criminal things? These are decisions we make. We're forced to make them sometimes. But if we have cultivated this Brahminical culture, if we have understood what is the mode of goodness, then we can make the right decisions in our life. So this is something you can take home. The value-based system. There is an old American Indian saying that in our heart there are two wolves. There are two wolves. There's one bad wolf and the good wolf. We all have these two wolves in our heart, or you can say two dogs. They're always fighting for supremacy. Every now and then they have a fight. But which dog is going to win? We all struggle sometimes. I know this is not good for me, but I really feel like doing it. That's the bad dog winning. And I do it. If I do it, knowing well it's not good for me, then the bad dog has won. But if I say, no, watch out, I'm going to let it go, then the good dog won. But when they fight, which dog is going to win? The dog that you feed every day is going to win. Once they start fighting, you cannot control the outcome. But the one you're feeding will get stronger, healthier, and the one you neglect will get weaker. If you feed the good dog, then these fights, when they happen, the good dog will always win. You will always make the right decision. So what is this feeding? What is this food? That is the modes. If you cultivate the mode of goodness, if you eat the right food, if you eat food that is spiritual, that is not full of sin, then you have clarity in your life. The good dog gets stronger. If you avoid food and drinks that are damaging to us morally, spiritually, biologically, if you neglect those things, avoid them, the bad dog gets weaker and weaker. And by food, I don't just mean the actual eating food. Yes, eating food is also important. That's a big part of it. But also the intake that we do. What books am I reading? What people am I listening to? What movies am I watching? What YouTube clips am I attracted to? What music do I listen? These are all food. These are all coming in. And the food is going to feed either the good dog or the bad dog. And that dog is going to get stronger. There's only one bowl of feeding. And if the food is there that is meant for the good dog, the bad dog will not touch it. There's only one bowl. So that bowl is our consciousness of our mind. So feed consciousness, only good, clear thoughts, mode of goodness. Then you will develop naturally a sense of purpose, a sense of ethics, morality. You will naturally be seen as a trustworthy person. And when you're an honest, trustworthy person, with clarity in your intelligence and focus, you will succeed in everything that you pick up. You'll find. I'll give you my personal example. When I was in Form 1, my studies were okay. I was not a bad student. I was not a very bad student either. But when I started cultivating the mode of goodness under the guidance of the devotees over here, Rukma Prabhu was here. Haridas Prabhu was here, Mansi Ganga Mataji was here, Umapati Prabhu. I was taking inspiration from these senior devotees and trying to understand this philosophy, to understand the mode of goodness, changing my lifestyle, trying to grapple with what is Prabhupada trying to teach me. And I used to come, my rank was like 12, 13, 12 consistent in the class of 30 kids. After I started picking this up, my rank went straight to number 1. I was doing well in everything. My parents were wondering, you're going to read all these books, you're going to start failing your exam. I said, just give me a chance. I was reading. And when the rank became number 1 consistently year after year, then they said, okay, keep reading those books. I was not wasting my time. When you try to understand this philosophy, it's like weight training for your intelligence. You'll become so strong just to grapple with these abstract concepts. Stick with the program. Trust the process. You'll be successful. This is a consistent process. The framework of the mode of goodness is given by Krishna. And this community, these loving exchanges, all these things are framed in the mode of goodness that is connected with God, which it takes you above even the mode of goodness to the mode of transcendence. So it's about culture. And even if your goals may not be spiritual, if you just follow the framework, you will find success. Your goal may not have to be spiritual. Even if you don't believe in God, it's okay. It's fine. But understand the framework of mode of goodness. Understand value-based life, a purpose-driven life. You will come closer and closer to happiness, and you will become resilient to the ups and downs of life that life throws at you inevitably. If you are seen in the world as a clear-minded, honest worker, you will always succeed. You'll move up very quickly. You'll find the grace of the Lord when you try to follow in his example of Govinda and try to appreciate the higher, finer values of life. Otherwise, you can just make money. You'll make a pile of money and you'll be utterly miserable because you have no purpose in life. You may have a high standard of living, so-called, but do you have a quality of life? Do you have happiness? Do you have peace? Are you smiling before you sleep? Are you waking up with happiness? Can you look in the mirror and say, yes, tomorrow is going to be even better and today was a wonderful day. And I am proud of who I am and I'm grateful to the Lord for where I'm going. If we can do that every day, what more do you want? So, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we have a few more minutes. We can discuss if any other comments, questions. We can go for another 14 minutes. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Very nice. In the beginning, you told that
Yes.
energy is covered we, not even. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga. He covered himself by yoga. It is a contradiction.
Yes. So he's saying in Bhagavad Gita that I am not visible. Naham prakasha sarvatra.
He covered by himself with his fire.
Yes.
Therefore, we are not able to see.
Correct. What he is saying, even here, she says you are covered by the curtain, right? You are covered by the curtain of delivering energy. When the deity curtain is closed, the deity is covered. But the effect is our eyes are covered. When here she explains that Krishna is covered by Maya, it doesn't mean that he is under the influence of Maya. We are under the influence of Maya. You see, that is a key difference. When the sun is covered by the clouds, in one sense you can say the clouds are covering the sun, but actually our eyes are being covered. We are under the influence of the cloud. The sun doesn't care. Sun is like shining nicely. You see, so the sun can never be affected by the clouds. The Lord can never be affected by Maya. But for us, from our perspective, he's covered because he's not available. Availability is most important. And what is that thing that defines or that dictates whether God is available or not? You see, the question is not whether God exists or not. Does God exist? No, that is not even the question to ask. The question to ask is God available? Because if he's not available, he might as well not exist. You see, if he's available, then why can I not access him? This one. Maya Jamanika Channam. The availability is there, but you have to open the curtain. There's a process to open the curtain, a process to recognize what is stopping me from seeing the face of the Lord. And the process is actually pretty intense. If you follow it properly, you can do in 1 minute, you can see the Lord. You don't have to take multiple lifetimes. One very famous video where Prabhupada asked, how long does it take to become pure and see Krishna? 1 minute, he said. 1 minute, he opens his eyes like very seriously. But you have to follow the process with that requisite intensity. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Tivrena means what? Intensity, tivrata. So if we take a process of spiritual life seriously, Krishna is available. Even if you don't make it 100%, even if you make 5% progress, you'll see the availability because his mercy will shine forth and you'll feel happiness. And once you taste that happiness, then you cannot go back to that, rotten food from the garbage. When you taste the fresh hot food, and you're used to eating rotten food in the garbage, you think that is the only thing that's worth eating. But when you taste fresh food, then you'll never look at that again. When you taste the little glimpse of Krishna's sweet smile, everything else worthless. Hare Krishna. Anyone else have any comments or questions? We can go for another 10 minutes. We have quite a good crowd today, full hall. Thank you all for showing up. Yes, anyone in the back, the front? Don't be shy, everyone is very shy today. I don't bite anymore. I used to bite. There is, in the purport, right, Srila Prabhupada explained something that is very interesting. So I want to elaborate on this one. Yeah, here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Vrajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. Among the devotees, he said the Lord has many, many, many devotees. And they're in different groups, different categories, and they're all pure, perfect devotees in their own categories. Among all the devotees, the Lord prefers the gopis, the cowherd girls. And who explains this? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is also the Lord himself. Very famous verse. Chaitanya. This is actually written by Prabodhananda Saraswati. It encapsulates the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness in one verse. It goes like this. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya Tadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatradara Napara. He says, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya. The one who is worthy of worship is Krishna in Vrajbhumi, in Vrindavan. The Dham of Vrindavan. His Dham, his place is Vrindavan. He is the highest form of worship. Yes, we can worship all other aspects of God, but Krishna is very sweet. So this is the point. Why? It's that community, the sense of, we show you that picture, right, of Govinda, where he's playing with the cows and his friends, and it's a complete picture of happiness that we can move towards and work towards. Vajeshatanaya, Taddhama Vrindavan. And among those devotees, even in Vrindavan, Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu, the highest form of worship is that performed by the cowherd girls, the gopis. Vargenaya Kalpita. Okay, good. How am I supposed to learn the process? How am I supposed to understand this philosophy? Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. All your questions can be answered by study of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the ultimate source of truth, guidance to live that life. Right? And what is the ultimate goal of life then? The profit, artha. There are 4 purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It means religiosity, making money, profit, artha. Economic development is artha. Kama, when you make money, what do you do? You enjoy it, enjoy life, enjoy your senses. You go to the movies, you drive a nice car. Kama. And then after a while, you see, even after having all these things, it's not fun. I want to get out of here. That's moksha. I want liberation from this misery. You know what is the problem with all 4 of these issues, with all 4 of these goals? All 4 of them are selfish, even the liberation one, because it's driven by a motive to get relief from my misery. But the main purushartha, the main goal of life, of human life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains in that verse, Prema Pumartho Mahan. The great goal of life is not those, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It is prem, love. Love, we are seeking that love. And that is where the sense of community comes. We have loving relationships with each other, but not even an ounce or tinge of selfishness. Why? Because we are all working together selflessly to glorify God, God in the center. And we develop love for God. We may not have love for God right now, but by absorbing ourselves in this culture of God consciousness, this Krishna culture, we'll find great satisfaction and gradually we'll develop love. Maybe I don't have love, but what can I access today? What feeling can I access today? That can I act on? Love is a very far away goal, but there are certain stepping stones that take you to love. What is those? Gratitude, appreciation. I can appreciate Krishna, how beautiful he is. I'm not in love yet, but I can start appreciating. I can appreciate how brilliantly he has created the world. I can appreciate how he has built my own body. My fingers move like this. You know how difficult it is to make a robot that does this? So difficult. You know how difficult it is to make a robot that looks like a human being, can jump from here to there? Very difficult. Krishna has made this robotic body and it works. You can appreciate the brilliance of Krishna. You can appreciate God by seeing his creation. Appreciation is easily reachable. Maybe love is not. But if you appreciate every day, then what we can have is gratitude. If you develop an attitude of gratitude, which is easy to do, we can be thanking Krishna. The more we are thankful genuinely, the more we can come closer to that high goal of love. It's the ultimate attitude. Gratitude is the attitude. And if you can't remember, you just remember the letters. What are the letters? Gratitude is the attitude. What does that spell? Try that again. Gratitude is the attitude. 4 letters. What does it spell? Gita. 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 So if you remember, Gita is gratitude is the attitude. Every day, find a place to be grateful for. Find a thing to be grateful for. We have so much. Count your blessings and you love the Lord. So this is Prema Pumartha, the highest goal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining, if you want to get the whole package, high standard of living, simple living, high thinking, high set of values, an enriching culture, uplifting, taking us out of any extended stretch of depression, embrace this philosophy. You don't even have to believe in God, you don't have to have even spiritual goals, but accept the framework and you'll succeed in your life. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Hari Bol. Thank you very much. So we will continue this. I think there's another session also scheduled. So please, there's a poster out there. Please do attend the next one as well. Hare Krishna.